Binge the full week of The Ray Taylor Show ad-free over at inspireddisorder.com/plus.
This is The Ray Taylor Show.
Rayz Dayz, episode 148. This is a weekly diary podcast hosted by me, Ray Taylor. Every Saturday, I share updates on my journey as an artist, podcaster, business owner, and human. I'm excited to share my experience with you and hope that my journey can serve as a source of inspiration and positivity for you. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about the preparations I've been doing for the upcoming 111 night market later this month. I will also be putting all of my be talking about how I've put all of my systems to the test because of this preparation that I've been doing. And as always, I'm going to be sharing something that I am thankful for at the end of the episode, as I do at the end of every episode. So let's get it started with my week. I, started off kind of, this 111 night market's taking place in Palm Desert at the Palm Desert Mall on February 18th from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. It will be the first art show, street fair type of a deal that I've done since Ray at Night back in San Diego, back in like the year 2014, 2013. I forget when I was exactly doing that. So it's been almost a decade since I've done that, but I still have most of the equipment I need. All of the things that I will have for sale are completely different. Obviously, I'm bringing all original artwork, all of the many faces, which I started doing around 2017. I have over 2,000 original ink paintings that I release every single day. So I will be bringing not all of those. I'm going to be bringing probably 1 to 200 original paintings to this. So I've been trying to figure out what I need to bring, figuring out how I want to set everything up, preparing everything that I want to sell so that it is easy for me to locate it and sell it, because I have my website is designed through Squarespace, which is amazing. I host all of my podcast feeds through there. I have all of my paintings for sale through there. They have a integration with Printful, so the prints and t-shirts that I sell of my artwork are integrated for drop shipping. So it has a lot of integration available, which is one of many reasons I love having my website through Squarespace. Please sponsor me, Squarespace. But also they have a feature where you can sell the products that are available on your website in person. So if you are somebody that has a website and you do these types of shows where you're selling things to people, you can use a device like the Square card reader, right? Where you can take, cash payments, but also credit card payments. And that can be integrated in through the Squarespace app, right? So instead of having to keep track of inventories, let's say I go to a show like this 111 night market and I sell 100 paintings, right? Which would be amazing. That would blow my mind. If I sold 100 paintings, get the fuck out of here. But let's say I do, right? Instead of having to keep track of every painting I sold and then have to go back on my website and then take them off of my website, basically the inventory will change automatically, but having to look those up is the tricky part, because I have over 2,000 paintings and I'm not going to be scrolling through all of my over 2,000 products that are for sale through my website to look at the image, the thumbnail, and compare it to the painting that I want to sell. Would take forever. So each of my painting has a number, right? So I can keep track of how many paintings I am, but each painting has a number, right? So my most recent paintings, the number is 2,100 and wherever I'm at right now, right? So part of the preparation is making sure that the paintings that I'm going to sell, I'm going to have available, all have that sticker, a number sticker on them, so I can just search the number on my app to locate the painting that somebody wants to sell, right? Almost like a barcode in a lot of ways. So a lot of what I've been doing this week is going through the paintings, right? I'm mostly doing smaller paintings, going through like 9 by 12. I do the majority of my paintings are 9 by 12. I have a few hundred that are in multiple sizes smaller than that, and then I will be bringing a select few paintings that are larger, right? So there'll be a massive range in prices, but going through, making sure all of my stuff is organized, making sure everything is properly inventoried, going through my website to make sure all of the prices are exactly where I want them to be. So I've been working from the moment I wake up at around 7 in the morning till many Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, going to sleep at around 2 a.m., right? Getting 5 hours of sleep, waking up, and just going to work and working the entire day. Thankfully, I've gotten a lot, and this is a lot of stuff that I've had on my to-do list to do for a while. So I've gotten the majority of that stuff done. Everything is on point as far as pricing goes on my website. All of these smaller paintings are inventoried. My shirts that I'm going to be selling are all inventoried. All the inventories are correct on the website. And so all I need to do now is go through some of the larger paintings that I'm going to do, tag all those, make sure all those tagged. And then what I'll be doing next week is doing that, and then also figuring out how I'm going to hang the paintings, which I know how I'm going to do it. Logistically, I know how I'm going to do it, but I'm just going to mock it up to see. I have these nets that I'm going to be hanging a lot of these smaller pieces with. I'm going to get a couple just kind of inexpensive frames for the larger pieces that will be hanged, and then just kind of laying out how I'm going to have everything laid out is primarily what I'm going to be doing next week, as well as I want to prepare for, I want to be doing, in order to collect people's contact information, like emails, social media, stuff like that, to be absorbent, right? So even if somebody's not going to be buying my work, I would like to form connections with as many people as possible. One of the ways I'm going to be doing that is to have a giveaway where people can sign up, which I'll have it on here too, so people can sign up. You don't necessarily have to go to 111 Market, but I will have a giveaway that I will be promoting for somebody to win a free painting, right? So you go, I'm planning on doing like business cards that have both the QR code or just the web address for people to go to a page that I still need to design on my website, enter in their information, and then at the end of the month, beginning of next month, I will randomly choose a winner to send them a free painting, right? Then, of course, I'm also going to be promoting my social media account, so I'm going to have this little TV that can play videos off a thumb drive, so I'm going to be playing the making of videos, which I put out every single day. There's 4 different making of videos that I create for each painting, from a 15-second, 60-second, 2 minutes, and then a double speed version of the video. Different camera angles. If you follow me on social media, you've seen them. So to promote my social medias, I'm going to be showing those. Also, I would like to get QR codes for a lot of the paintings that I want to sell, so that when you go to look at the finished painting in person, you can also scan the QR code and watch the making of video right there as well if you want to. So I'm going to be having that as well. Let's take a quick break from this episode because I want to talk about, are you looking for the perfect gift for that art lover in your life? Look no further than InspiredDisorder.com. Our gift cards can be used to purchase original artwork from The Many Faces, a collection of over 2,000 original abstract ink portraits. These one-of-a-kind pieces make for a truly unique and meaningful gift. But that's not all. Our gift cards can also be used to purchase high-quality prints and t-shirts featuring these amazing paintings. Plus, if the recipient is a fan of the Rayz Dayz Show, they can use the gift card to purchase merchandise from the show as well. So why wait? Head on over to inspireddisorder.com and purchase a gift card today. Your loved one will be sure to appreciate the thought and creativity behind such a unique gift. Thank you for considering inspireddisorder.com for all of your gift needs. And now, back to the show. Also giving out a discount code that will be specific to people that go to the Midnight Market to save money, because I sell a lot of stuff on my website in addition to the original painting. So if somebody wants to buy a print or a t-shirt that features one of the images of my paintings that I do not sell, because I do not want to have to maintain an inventory of those. I don't want to have to store them and haul them around. All of those things are made to order, right? I don't have the money to pre-order stuff, and it's just way easier to drop ship the stuff, sell it as, I get less money per shirt, per print that's sold, but it is way better than trying to manage stock and inventory. That I do not want to do, right? The only thing I want to be storing and inventorying is my original artwork. So to promote those things, there will be a special discount code that if you do show up to the 111 Night Market, you will get that discount code. So if you want to purchase anything through my website, you will be able to do so at a discount. So I'll be promoting that. And then also promoting, last but not least, promoting my podcast, which is the least related, aside from Rayz Dayz, aside from this podcast. Movie reviews and my opinions on the news and ranking movies and episode recaps aren't directly related to the art that I do. But obviously, I would like to promote this. So if anybody is interested in those things, or they want to subscribe to this show and just to follow my particular journey, that is what this show is for. So I will also be promoting this podcast. So it's been a crazy week to, writing all of the things I want to get done. So the systems that I've been putting to the test, because I've been working nonstop on this. Obviously, the systems that are involved with the Rayz Dayz Show, my new way of taking notes, my new way of preparing for the show, the many different to-do lists that I have, checklists that I have to make sure that everything gets done, so that I don't forget to make a promotional video, so that I don't forget to make swipe up clips to upload to YouTube. Like every single thing is like accounted for. And because I am doing all of this preparation that's really taking up all of my time, I am relying heavily on the systems that I've kind of developed to make sure that this show gets produced, that I'm prepared by Sunday to record all 7 episodes, that I paint every Thursday, and then that stuff all gets done. All the making of videos get produced the way they're supposed to. So making sure that the things that I've been doing for the past 5 years don't fall through the cracks while I'm super focused on doing all this other stuff. And thankfully, the systems are working, right? Everything, it has been insane. Just kind of work, make sure I mark things off, and then on my phone, I know exactly what needs to get done, and doing the same, setting up the same types of systems for the preparation that I need to do for the 111 Night Market. So easily developing those same systems to handle this other large project. But thankfully, once the majority of these things I'm doing for this project, preparing for the night market, I won't have to do again. Because every Thursday or every Saturday, when I photograph the new paintings that I do and edit the new video and the videos for them, they all automatically get tagged with the number. I've been doing that for the last probably 500-600 paintings, right? So that's something I've been doing. I just haven't gone back to the 1,500 plus paintings that I've already done and organized them and tagged them properly. So as I'm getting all of that back work done, I will never have to do it again. Once I figure out how I'm going to set everything up and hang everything, I won't have to do that. I won't have to do like a dry run and set everything and mock everything up to figure out. I won't have to set up the websites to do the giveaway, right? I can just use the same website, use the same promotional materials, all of this stuff that I'm doing to prepare this massive project, this massive amount of things I'm trying to do to prepare, will just be able to do more, right? If I sell one of the large paintings that's framed, I just go and buy a new frame, right? I know where to buy them for inexpensive, so I don't have, it makes everything very easy going forward to where I can do not only more of the 111 night markets, but I can do more of these types of shows in general, and it won't take up much time from my week aside from the actual time it would take to just load everything up, drive to the location, sell for the amount of time they're open, and then shut everything down. All of the structural things will have been built and will be ready to go. So even though it's a ton of work these weeks leading up, hopefully I get everything. My goal is, by the time this episode comes out on Saturday, my goal is to have everything done. And then the next week, right, is the week of the night market. I don't want to have to do anything. I want to only focus on making sure that I get everything I need to do done to make sure Saturday is just the night market. I don't want to have to worry about prepping for the show like I normally do on Saturdays. I want that all to be done. I don't want to have to worry about having to watch and review a show or a movie. Like I want to be able to just focus 100% on getting all that stuff done as early as possible on that week, so that when Saturday comes along, I don't have to be distracted by anything else. So that's what my week has been like this past week, although the week before, as I'm recording it, is this past week. So hopefully by the time this episode comes out, I will be done with all of that stuff. But I'm happy with everything as it's coming along. It's gone pretty smooth. It's just I've been getting very little sleep, and really yesterday while I was preparing and doing all my show notes, really on edge, short fuse, angry at everything. I was hating life. Thankfully, I was able to go to sleep super early last night, so that I'm way more refreshed today. I'm not on edge. I'm not angry at everything. And then tomorrow, Monday, I will go right back to probably waking up at 7 o'clock and working until I'm exhausted at 2 in the morning and passing out for 5 hours. So we'll see how that all goes. But my systems have been holding up perfectly, so I don't have to think about all that stuff. All I have to do is look at my phone, see what needs to get done, do those things, and make sure they get marked off as I complete them. And all I have to do is be in the moment. I don't have to remember to do something. Everything has been put down, so my brain only has to focus on whatever I'm working on in the moment, which makes it way easier. I don't have I'm not stressed out really, aside from not getting that much sleep, which makes me angry. I'm not I don't have crazy anxiety because I'm constantly trying to remember all the things I need to get done. I'm not worried about things that I normally do falling through the cracks, so it's been pretty stress-free aside from just the mental stress of just getting all the work done and working nonstop for 13 hours a day, 12 hours a day. How many hours? No, it's 20. I don't know. 19 hours a day. I sleep 5 hours, so that's 19 hours. Yeah, that's it. 19 hours a day. It's pretty crazy. So that's been my week. Nothing aside from that. That's literally been the number one focus. I also had to come up with the what show I'm going to do because the rehearsal ended. Season 1 of the rehearsal, so I had to figure out what show I wanted to do a no recap for, which will take place. I'm going to be doing, which I announced Tuesday. I'm doing Poker Face, the Peacock series with Natasha Lyonne, created by Ryan Johnson, a case of the week murder mystery type of a show, which I love. So there's 10 episodes of that. So that's going to overlap for 2 weeks when Dave season 3 starts, which I'll be doing episode recaps of Dave when that comes back. So I've done season 1 and season 2 of Dave, so I'll be doing that as they come out when it comes back. So there'll be 2 weeks where on Tuesday there'll be an episode, the last 2 episodes of Poker Face and the first 2 episodes of Dave. So I'll basically be doing 8 episodes of recording each Sunday for those 2 weeks, which will be, I don't know where that lines up with the night market as. I don't think it will. I think it's going to be the beginning of April. But yeah, that's other than that, which I'm so used to starting new podcasts, right? Doing the artwork for them, creating the web pages for them, creating the RSS feeds for them to submit to all the different platforms, all that stuff I've done so many times with the many different, I think I've done 9 now, episode recap podcasts, that it's pretty easy for me to do. And with ChatGPT as my assistant, writing descriptions for things makes it a lot easier, and it flows. It's just super easy for me to just deciding which one I want to do is the difficult part. But that's been my week. Let's take a quick break from this episode to talk about, are you a fan of art, movies, and all things entertainment? Then you need to check out youtube.com/inspired disorder. Our page is jam-packed with all kinds of great content, including making of videos of the many faces, an ongoing art series of abstract ink paintings. But that's not all. We also feature daily episodes from the Rayz Dayz Show, a podcast that brings you movie reviews, TV show reviews, episode recaps, opinions on news and entertainment, and much more. There's also a weekly diary and top 5 movie rankings of a variety of categories. And if that wasn't enough, we've also got how-to videos covering all kinds of topics. So why wait? Head on over to youtube.com/inspired disorder and start exploring the amazing content we have to offer. And now back to the show. As I do at the end of every episode, I want to highlight something that I'm thankful for. And in this episode, I am thankful for a podcast that inspired me to start podcasting way back in like 2007 or 2008. And the podcast that I am thankful for that no longer exists, but was one of my favorite shows, the Totally Rad Show, which at the time was a HD video podcast that I subscribed to through iTunes. This was before YouTube did long-form HD video. They didn't do HD video, and they didn't do longer than 10 minutes. I think they were capped out back then. So subscribing through iTunes, and this is before streaming services were around. Subscribing to this podcast through iTunes was the only way to get HD video programming. And I didn't have cable at the time. Streaming services didn't exist. I think it was the early days of the South Park website that started up. And then pretty soon around there, Hulu kind of started up, which probably means that Netflix was probably a streaming service. But I didn't have any of those services at the time. But Totally Rad Show, amazing show. I had 3 hosts, 3 dudes were hosting of this show, and they reviewed movies and video games and comic books and other nerd-esque things. It was the second podcast that I ever subscribed to. The first podcast was Dignation, which was hosted by Kevin Rose and Alex Albrecht. Alex Albrecht also co-hosted the Totally Rad Show, He was one of the three co-hosts. The other two, along with Alex Albrecht, is the director of Prey, Dan Trachtenberg, and one of the co-hosts of the Filmcast, Jeff Kanata. So Jeff, Dan, and Alex were the three hosts of Totally Rad Show, and it was a fun show I looked forward to every week. Despite the fact that I didn't play video games, despite the fact that I did not read comic books, I love their movie reviews. I love their chemistry as hosts. They are three friends that have known each other for a long time, and it's just a show that I loved and was super sad when it ended. Right? It was. They did a lot of different segments. They had some fun segments that weren't necessarily part of their reviews. Like they did one was Dan Becomes a Man, where there'd be these things, these challenges for Dan Trachtenberg to do that would, kind of make him more of a man. One of them was they went on a trip to the UK, right, to film some special episodes. I think they were part of a convention or something like that. I don't really know why they were in the UK, but they were in the UK. And one of the Dan Becomes a Man segments that is forever burned in my brain as being one of the funniest things, one of the moments that made me laugh extremely hard, was Dan trying to drink tea the proper way. And the amount his hand would shake while attempting to drink tea the proper way was to hold the teacup in the proper way, to drink it and replace it, and his inability to control himself, his inability to stop laughing, his inability to stop shaking, was something that I relate to quite a bit. I took a glass torching class once, and my hands never shook more than when I was trying to just make basic glass beads. It was ridiculous. And Dan's hand, as it shook trying to drink tea, was a spitting image of the ridiculous nature that was me trying to make glass beads. But it's a show that also introduced me to stuff like geocaching. They did like these marathon episodes to raise money for charity, where they would play board games and other things, which inspired me to do the 24-hour podcast. That was a charity-based podcast that I did 2 episodes of. This is the show that their show inspired me to start podcasting. Was my first podcast, the Billy Dallas Show, where I played a character. Only did 6 episodes. It was video podcast. I didn't have an audio version, but it was available through iTunes. The Billy Dallas Show, and I played a character who wanted to be a roadie for Atmosphere, moved to LA, and then found out Atmosphere is in Minneapolis, so he wanted to become internet famous so he can make money to move from LA to Minneapolis, which was the premise of the Billy Dallas Show. And to be internet famous, he reviewed movies that were like old movies. He reviewed the internet like he was he's kind of a hillbilly, ignorant type of a character that was sincere in his reviews, but also it was a comedy. 100% inspired by the Totally Rad Show. I remember communicating with Jeff Kanata via email, telling him about it, and he checked it out, and that was like a highlight of my life back then. And then later on, Dan Trachtenberg, the director of Prey, the director of 10 Cloverfield Lane, before he was a director, was Dan Trachtenberg from that's why if you go to his Twitter handle, it's Danny TRS. TRS stands for Totally Rad Show. He was a guest on another movie podcast and brought it up at the end of one of the episodes of TRS to recommend people check out the guest appearance he had on this audio podcast about movies, which at the time was called the Slash Filmcast. And that is the podcast, the first audio-only podcast I subscribed to around 2008, and is a podcast that I still subscribe to. It is now called the Filmcast. They parted ways with the movie website Slash Film and are now just the Filmcast. And now the 3 co-hosts of that show include Jeff Kanata, which at the time was somebody else. So after TRS ended, Jeff Kanata went and became one of the 3 co-hosts of the Filmcast. So they're podcasts that have not only started my podcast career that is going on 14 plus years now. I mean, even more than that. When did I start? 2008. So almost 15 years. But also got me into other podcasts. And it's amazing. And, it was always a highlight of my week when a new episode of TRS came out. Towards the end of their run, they started, it was a show that had multiple segments within it. It was like an hour and a half long show. They decided towards the end to split it up into, I think it was a daily show, but it was split up into smaller episodes, each segment was a different episode. And that was like before it ultimately ended. Which was a bummer. I love that show, but Dan Trachtenberg, obviously, he got into directing movies. Like a lot of people were kind of going their separate ways. And it's awesome to still, to this day, listen to Jeff Kanata talk about movies, which was the main thing I loved. And it was also, they did one of the segments they did on Totally Rad Show was Versus, where they went to a website called Flickchart that still exists. And Flickchart basically gives you 2 movies and you decide which movie you like better in order to kind of make a list of your favorite movies just by competing, seeing which ones, different matchups, seeing how you rate. And they had a segment called Versus where all 3 of them had to agree on which of the 2 movies, which made for a great discussion, which ended up becoming a segment of my old show, the Inspired Disorder podcast, in a segment called the Ultimate Movie Championship, where my co-host Keith and I did the same thing. We basically played Versus, went to Flickchart, and were given 2 movies. We decided which of the 2 movies is better, and that built our Ultimate Movie list. And then for any movie that one of us hadn't seen, populated a list of shame, and very exact to how the TRS guys did. So it's a show that has inspired me in podcasting in many ways over the years, whether it's the 24-hour podcast for charities, to raise money for charities, for the segment of using Flickchart, all of these things. So amazing. And it's amazing to see Trachtenberg make some of my favorite movies, one of my favorite movies last year in Prey, one of the best, if not the best, Predator movie, in my opinion, but the best. And then also seeing Jeff Kanata continue to put out amazing content, and just it's amazing. I love it, and they are forever a highlight. The Totally Rad Show will always be a highlight in my journey as a creative person. And I love them forever. And every segment, they ended with a fist bump. They always had really fun production. The different producers they had over the years were always kind of a character themselves in the fun producing. Everything was done on green screen. There's a lot of like animated stuff. There's a lot of aspects of how Totally Rad Show is produced that have influenced this show. In some ways, I don't go as fun and spend as much time as they do to flash stuff up. But at the end of every segment they did, they would all do a fist bump that would cause an explosion, which I really loved. And their signature send off for each segment, and a great. Which, if you're watching this, that's what they're doing above me, right? So anyway, that's been my week. Make sure you come to the 111 Night Market on February 18th from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Palm Desert Mall to check out all the artwork that I'll be showing for the first time to the public, and start collecting my paintings. Absolutely do that. Let me know you listen to the show. That would be awesome to see people who actually subscribe to this in the real world. I'm also thankful for the opportunity to connect with all of you through this podcast, and for the chance to share my journey with you. Please join the conversation by leaving a comment or rating on your favorite podcast platform, or on YouTube if you're watching these shows. And as always, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next week for another episode of Rayz Dayz.
New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on YouTube and everywhere our podcasts are found. Binge the full week over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!
Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.